Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here, welcome back to another Overwatch video, and in today's video we are once again speaking about the ongoing new hero mystery. A brand new tweet went out on the official Play Overwatch Twitter account with an attached image that contains some rather interesting information, so in this video we are going to talk about that. Of course, if you guys missed my video the other day, then that speaks about the changes to the PTR where the Numbani map has been updated, the DOOMFIST gauntlet is stolen, the terminal has been smashed up and the OR-15 robots are destroyed. So definitely check that out because that is of course integral to this ongoing mystery. However, turning our attention to today, the tweet says, update, Genius Grant recipient and Numbani local S-ATAIII post curious image on her Holovid channel declaring, time to get to work. And the attached image is a shopping list. Now do bear in mind the reason it looks like it's been drawn by a kid is because it has. S-ATAIII is an 11-year-old child genius, and that has been confirmed to be in the current timeline, so it's not like she was 11 at the time of this and then in the kind of current timeline she's older. She is 11 years old right now. So with that being said, we're pretty certain that the new hero is going to be her creation and not her, because of course we're not going to be able to play as an 11-year-old child and, you know, get shot in the process. So we're thinking whatever she creates is going to be the new hero. So turning our attention to the shopping list, it says things to get. Of course, a cool little drawing in the top corner that might well be indicative of what she thinks the face might look like. Interesting thing to think about there. But the first thing she needs is an OR-15 chassis. So again, as a recap, these are the OR-15s, the kind of smashed up robots, because of course in her interview, the whole thing that kicked off this new hero speculation, she spoke about how she would like to create something that protects people like the OR-15s. Next up, she needs a Branford arm. Now, I'm not entirely sure what this is. Looking at the bottom of the picture, this could well be a schematic for a Branford arm. And if you do actually look at the destroyed OR-15 robots in the terminal, the parts they have down on the floor look very similar to this. So it could well just be that is a strong robotic arm that she can then mount a weapon onto. Now, interesting point of speculation, is this arm going to be strong so she can attempt to mount the DOOMFIST gauntlet on it if it was her that stole it? Or more likely, it's just going to be some other kind of weapon so that at some point down the line they can actually introduce DOOMFIST. So for the time being, putting speculation aside, that is one of the parts she needs, which I assume to be this. After that, she needs a fusion driver, some sort of power core, of course, to power the whole thing. She needs a miniature Tobelstein reactor. Now, I'm going to assume she spelled it incorrectly, partly because she's a kid. She might well be a child genius, but she's still a kid, so she might make spelling mistakes. But for those of you guys that are unfamiliar, the Tobelstein reactor is actually the power core that Zarya uses in her weapon. And given that we are assuming that this new hero is going to be a tank hero instead of a support hero, then it might well be interesting to think she might operate in a similar way to Zarya. Obviously not going to be the same hero because they all want them to be different, but there may well be some shared properties there. After that, she wants some paint, which of course you're going to need for the different colours, and I'll come back to this in a second because there's a rather interesting point to talk about here. However, below that she has the Axiom vocal processor, which I'm going to assume is this thing that looks like a stick of RAM up here, because it actually says Axiom on it, and it is crossed off, so she obviously has that one. And then finally, some Lucios, they are just her cereal. So maybe it's going to be a serial killer robot. I'm sorry. Anyway, that aside, that is her shopping list. So she's looking to build a robot. We already know that. It's going to be based on the OR-15 in model, so she needs a chassis for that. It needs a strong arm that she can obviously mount a weapon onto it, some sort of power core, the reactor that is similar to what Zarya has, and of course, some paint. Now, what does this all mean? Well, again, at the moment, I'm not going to go too wild on speculation because we still don't know, but given that we are getting relatively frequent tweets, I imagine it won't be too long till we find out. In fact, GDC is this week, so I know the Overwatch guys are giving some talks there, so hopefully we'll get some information from that. However, what I do want to turn my attention to is this image from a long time ago. Now, do bear in mind, anytime a new hero comes out, we do have this tendency to revisit those kind of past images that feature heroes that we have yet to see. But the one that's most interesting to me is this guy in the back, this big red robotic guy here. Now, the thing that's interesting is he has a similar form factor from at least what we can see behind all those people. He has a similar form factor to the OR-15s. He also has a predominantly red paint job, and while you could argue that the paint job on the shopping list is brown, I think it's just kind of the tint of the colour. I think that's supposed to be a sort of red colour. So given that that is one of the possible colours, it could well be pointing towards that particular hero. Also, if you look at the sort of triangle shapes around his arms, that looks somewhat similar to the sort of shapes and designs you may well see around the Numbani map. So admittedly, at this stage, this is a very big stretch, but looking at the images we've seen to date, this hero appears to at least somewhat align with what we've seen. He has a very similar body to the OR-15s, he has a potentially matching paint job, and also at a stretch, if you look at the face that she's drawn in the corner versus the face that he has, it's got the little kind of like part around the chin, the sort of superhero chin, it's got the fold down the middle of the head. It doesn't have the horns, so that is a little bit missing, but either way, that's just something to think about. But for the time being, that is the most recent update. So that is where we're currently at. We've had an interview with Effie Oladele. The Numbani map in the PTR has been smashed up. The DOOMFIST gauntlet has been stolen. And we've now seen her shopping list. So what comes next? Honestly, I don't know. But what I can tell you is I'll keep you up to date as and when we do find out more. So for the time being, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.